After years of nothing due to the Wii exclusivity of Samurai Warriors 3, Samurai Warriors finally got a mainline game in the West to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the series, this being Samurai Warriors 4, which was a play-it-safe sequel, yet also massive downgrade in many areas. Then, not even like a year later, they re-released the game with barely anything new and charged $60 for it. Time to finally review Samurai Warriors 4-2, a horrible game and port for the PC.
You ain't lying.
The storytelling saw a massive downgrade, and majority of characters are no longer a part of the Musou Mode. This means you will no longer get to play majority of characters, much like Dynasty Warriors 6. You can only play the majority in free mode, to which there is no point, as free mode is the same exact thing as Musou Mode, with all the pop-up objectives getting in the way and scripting the battle to be extremely linear. The storytelling is the same, and you can only play the one side of the story mission in free mode. Yes, this means free mode is stupid and pointless. Also, you will notice the storytelling is now mostly visual novel laziness with just text. Omega Force continues to put no effort into their titles. There's only 2 pre-rendered cutscenes of actual cinematics, the beginning of the Musou Mode story and the ending, all of which are lazy and anticlimactic, like an Empire's cutscene till Dynasty Warriors 7 Empires added meaningful cutscenes. You will also notice the story mode and the rest of the game is in Japanese, making it even harder to understand and keep up with what's happening on screen. Unless you speak Weebnese, you will never notice all the stuff happening, because you're so focused on the fighting, you didn't notice the commander about to die, and then have to start all over again after playing the battle for 10 to 15 minutes. They also removed all the iconic stories of old, no Nobunaga, Mitsuhide, Rimaru, or Hideyoshi stories, or even the edgelord ninja guy. No. Not even Tokugawa Ieyasu gets a story. They instead focus on random selection of about 2 to 3 characters. They, instead of giving you Mitsuhide's story, give you some Majima Goro knockoff piece of shit who loves dynamite that kills Nobunaga. Instead, in the whole shtick of the story is Oda keeps forgiving the Majima Wish.com edition, which drives him even more insane. How stupid. The characters had small design alterations, but look basically the same as they always have. There's 12 new characters and 1 with 4-2. They're all boring and nothing special. Plus most of them are not even in Musou Mode and only free mode, so there's no reason to talk about them. Some characters were downgraded to near generics or had their personalities butchered. For example, Mitsuhide rarely ever talks and is only there to be there because he's supposed to be there, part of Nobunaga's entire clan. Nobunaga himself was downgraded into a generic clown character who just continuously laughs at every little thing. Yeah, this game sucks ass.
No shit.
The combat was made slightly more clunky. This is mostly because of the bad PC port. You have backwards controls and the controller buttons do not appear in the game. Instead, it's a random selection of in-game icons. You must memorize what each icon means. What does the sword icon mean? What does the character running mean? What does the circle icon mean? You name it. You also cannot control the camera like normal. This means you must use the triggers, or L2/R2 for the PlayStation controller users, to move the camera left and right. You cannot remap these, by the way. In fact, majority of controls are glued to the keyboard. So you will use the controller to play, but need the keyboard to skip cutscenes, press start, pause the game, switch characters, retreat, you name it.
It's awful.
And for some reason, they made the X button accept and the Y button cancel. Or for PlayStation controllers, it would be square accept and triangle cancel. You can switch characters now, which is a tacky gimmick that barely matters and feels tacked on so badly. Honestly, I forget that it's there half the time, since you never really need to switch between the officers unless you're on a harder difficulty. At that point, however, the game goes from being a Warriors game to a freaking babysitter simulator. What is this, Resident Evil 4 or 5? Bullshit. Outside of this, the game is basically the same old, just with no ninja shortcuts and stuff like that brought in by the second game. You'll never have anything else to do besides moving forward in a linear level design and complete a series of objectives. Fail? Then it's game over. The padding and linearity ruins the Warriors experience. There's no reason for this stuff. Not to mention the non-stop pop-ups telling you the objective, because having the mini-map tell you where to go and what to do in the older games was somehow worse than pausing the game with pop-ups that ruin the flow of the game and in turn get in the way of your Musou attacks. Lame.
What the hell is that?
Survival mode was downgraded and is just a straightforward kill everything on every floor and you're entirely alone. There's nothing to it this time, and the darkness makes it hard to see. Especially in cutscenes, you'll notice the graphical issues with the darkness, like a faint circle appearing on the screen at all times, and the darker areas being scrambled and looking awful, so the edges look low resolution and blurry. Another downgrade is the free mode having no reason to exist. There's no extra modes like challenge mode, gauntlet mode, the board game from Samurai Warriors 2, you name it. You just have story, pointless free mode, and survival, which is so forgettable, I'm not even going to cover it. There's a character creator, but there's no reason for it, as the editor is extremely lackluster, basic, and you cannot create realistic looking people. This means if you want to make Charlie and Muda from Moist Critical and Some Ordinary Gamers, you can't. There's a lack of facial hair, and the face sculpting is minimal at best. Plus, the game loves to crash when you're making a custom officer. Great PC port, guys. No, really. 10 out of 10.
That's the only 10 this movie's getting.
The PC port in of itself is awful. The buttons are almost entirely on the keyboard. You can't use the mouse. There's no icons for controllers. The game loves to crash randomly. There's tons of frame drops, slowdowns, lag, and pop-in. Also, it's the PlayStation 3 version and not the PlayStation 4 version they brought over. They also didn't bundle in the DLC with the PC port and are still charging $50 for the game, let alone $120 for the DLC. Now this is in USD money. God only knows how bad it is for the poor bastards in Australia.
Do I look like a happy camper to you? Didn't think so.
At the end of the day, I do not recommend this piece of shit game. It's clearly just another half-assed entry of the Warriors games by Omega Force. They clearly made this because they needed something for the anniversary. And we all know most of the time, when it comes to anniversary game releases, they tend to be dog shit, like Sonic 06. So save your money, don't even bother getting this game for free via the 7 Seas, it's not worth the bandwidth. The Samurai Warrior games have always had it rough. This is nothing different. Samurai Warriors 4-2 left me wanting nothing more to do than shove a porcupine up my ass while singing Rebecca Black's Friday in a tutu just to find some joy in life and see if I still feel pain after this depressing experience.
Boy, I'm a little hard right now, I ain't gonna lie.